Hi everybody, welcome back to another speed build here in The Sims 4 in my Rebuild the World series. We are in the Spencer Lewis Kim households. Yeah, I think that's the word. Like I'm honestly so bad with the names for the residents in The Sims 4 because I don't really play around with it myself that much, unless I do the Let's Play. But this is the Spencer Lewis Kim, or Spencer Kim Lewis, something in that order. So I had to actually go in and I research a little bit about this family before actually doing this build. So if you haven't watched any of the Rebuild series builds, I'm currently in Willow Creek trying to rebuild Willow Creek with my imagination and what I think the world should look like. So we've already done Delsel Valley. We're tackling Willow Creek here, and I really want to hear what town you guys want to see next, what suggestions you have. I'm going to take those into consideration. But for Willow Creek here, what I did was I really wanted to give the town of Willow Creek a more industrial feel and some more character. So I felt like the Willow Creek that I imagined was a different style and a different tone. So we have done a lot of rebuilding in Willow Creek. Like there's been a lot of rebuild buildings throughout this whole series, and Willow Creek is actually, I think, one of my preferred rebuilds. Just because of the tone, the way that things turned out, the look, the feel, everything. I'm super happy with every single build in this town. So I'm honestly also a bit excited to go in and start on a new town. So I only need to rebuild 2 more lots on this town and then we're done. But yeah, we're tackling this Spencer Lewis Kim Lewis Spencer, whatever order they have the family in. That's the build we're tackling today. So the original build is kind of this weird mixed blend family. So there is the man and the woman who have a child together, and I do remember that the child's name is Olivia. I think I'm fairly certain of that. So they have Olivia, but each of like the husband and wife also brought in their parents. So one of them have their mom and one of them have their dad. I don't know which, I cannot remember, but one of them had the mom, one of them had the dad. They have Olivia, and then they have themselves, the married couple. And I honestly really liked that. So I thought that was a really intriguing premise to build this house in. Also going with the industrial feel that we have for the rest of the town. It was a really nice premise to build the town on. And I created this really cool, what I think is cool, but this really cool looking build where it's almost like it's an old factory where there was this connection between the 2 factories and where they might have stored like grain, something like that. And now it's been totally repurposed into this big, what you can almost call like a mansion, like an industrial mansion. I think, oh yeah, that's what I called the original before uploading it to the gallery. But it's very much this big industrial mansion that's been repurposed into something completely different, and it's now this this huge family house. So it went from an industrial, maybe warehouse, like something of that sort, into this now huge family house. And I thought that was just a really cool idea. So tackling first the kitchen. Now I did another rebuild series where I was trying to limit myself to the pack in which that town came from. And I was like, why am I limiting myself? Why do I do that? Because I have all of this, like these ideas that I want to do, and I have all of these packs and all these items. Why do I limit myself? I could create something that I really, really want to do. So that's what I ended up doing, starting the rebuild series from scratch and rebuilding every single thing with no limitations. I can use every single pack. The only thing I'm not doing is I'm not using CC. So I don't have any CC installed. I also am no longer using any mods because I'm not 100% certain, but I feel like mods is what contributed to me having a lot of problems with the game. So I'm a little afraid to go in and install mods again because now it's just working like it's supposed to. So why really mess with that? But you walk right into what I would say is a beautiful like entry space. It's a nice entry hall. We have a little side bathroom here with the laundry as well, because I wanted to have a laundry room or at least laundry inside of the house, but I didn't know where to put it, and having this more of the guest bathroom or guest toilet, whatever, actually made perfect sense to chuck it in there. So the whole first floor here is the kitchen, dining room space. We have these amazingly big, beautiful windows pulled right out of the industrial era. I loved the way that these looked. Now, I was having a bit of a back and forth with myself on the color scheme for the dining room here. So the kitchen is a very much muted yellow color. I wanted to also put in a lot of color schemes inside of this build because we have all of these different types of people living here. So I feel like the parents would have one color scheme, but then they have their parents moving in as well. So of course I also had to give them a style and give them their own respective rooms. But then I also had to like take into account that, okay, so there's like 4 adults living here now. We also have a child. So it also needs to be somewhat child friendly and, you know, take that into consideration. So I ended up with a lot of mixture of just colors and styles, and I love the way that it looks, and it just fits in with this industrial look as well. Now, I totally forgot when I was doing this that I put in these huge skylights, which look amazing. They let in so much light inside of the build, but I forgot about that. So I had to adjust where the rooms were located because if you know, you know, but if you place a skylight and then the wall is underneath that, the wall just like goes up and then it's just one big open space, which looks ridiculous. So of course I didn't want to do that with the skylight. So I actually ended up changing it somewhat a bit, but yeah, when you walk up the stairs from the dining room, you walk up into the living room space. We have this weird kind of corridor where the skylight is. It let in so much natural light and I love that. So I was like, we can put in, you know, some music stuff, a piano, just make it look really nice and chill. And then that is kind of leading into the what I would call little office area, but it's kind of like an office slash library. Because I did put in a lot of bookcases. I also put an easel in there as well. And right next to that is Octavia, something with O, I feel like. But the children room, like her room is located here. I wanted that to have somewhat more of character than the original did. I do like the original builds. That being said, the revamped version of it that they did, so much better, but still that just didn't fit the style I was trying to do with my version of Willow Creek. So that's why I changed it. And again, we have a lot of mix match of some different furniture, but all thrown together, they have this cohesiveness of a modern retro style that I really do love. I love the way that this turned out, and I just love the overall feel and vibe of the space itself. Now I have this big ass television that came with one of the kits. Cannot remember which, but I'm super bad at remembering all the packs at this point because there's like over 90 packs. So it's almost impossible for me to remember when I can't even remember what I had for dinner last week. But I wanted to use that big television because I haven't actually used it yet. But I still wanted it to be not super in your face with the furniture. So it was for me a lot of trying to really strike a balance between the modern and the retro style with the industrial vibe of the build itself. And I ended up going with these more muted black couches because I thought that looked really cool. I threw in some, you know, some color here and there because I can't help it. I do love myself some colors. I love some colors on the walls. Like a nice accent wall is just a really nice focal point. So I of course threw that in there. We have a record player. Then I have this walkway between the two buildings where there is a skylight, but also like an abundance of windows and natural light coming through. And I thought that would be the perfect place to just have, you know, some plants, have a little place where you can place some chests. It's nice and well lit. I had some problem, and again, I do not understand how this is still a problem 10 years in The Sims 4, but I had a problem where the roofing piece was actually glitching through the wall. We all know that problem. It's like the roof trim. Super annoying. So I decided to do some built-in storage units with the bookcases instead, make it look really nice and built in. I thought that worked really well, and was a nice way to actually, you know, hide the trim but still have the bookcases be visible. Now this is Grandma's room. Again, I cannot remember which one is her child. I'm not 100% sure, but I made it into a very nice cozy Grandma's room. So we have some knitting stuff, and I honestly really loved the idea of having this more yellow tone in here with some accents, and she has a big skylight as well. And going over into Grandpa's room as well, there was a trim kind of glitching through, so I put a dresser up against it. You can't really see it now, but it's just, honestly, I don't understand how that is still a problem. It's really weird to me. But going into Grandma or Grandpa's room here, that is a bit more. I was having a bit of trouble of like, what do you put in here? Because we have the piano where I imagine he would sit down and play. So I actually decided to put in some, like an old guitar. We have some bookcases and make it into like just a nice cozy space to be if you chose to hang out there. And when you take the staircase down on the other side of the build, now this is where we have a bit more of a what was I gonna do here kind of situation. So I knew this was gonna be the master bedroom for the parents. It was just about trying to figure out what I was actually going to do inside of the master bedroom, because it was like, so I need to make it very distinct from the other ones, and clearly the overall style of the whole house is definitely styled after the parents. So I knew I also had to keep it kind of modern, with an maybe what I would call eclectic vibe, but definitely modern, but throw some eclectic in there. But I still wanted it to be, you know, fun with the color schemes. So the master bedroom I ended up with is way more muted than the grandparents' rooms, and definitely more so than the child's, but I don't know. I think it works really well. I also thought this is definitely also a house where there would be a bar area. So I tried to make the bar area look really nice and cool. We have this big room with all these windows and all this natural light coming through. And I was talking with Martin. I was like, I don't know what to do in this room. And a kind of living space without a television, but just a nice place to hang out. Now that it's like right next to the bar as well, I also put in a children's toy chest thing so she could play down there, but it was just a nice room to have right next to the bar, and it just made sense, honestly. So I think it just turned out really good, and the screenshots in the end with the natural light, I think it turned out super cool. So we have the deck here right next to the dining room. And of course, I made a barbecue area because why wouldn't you? It makes total sense to have a barbecue area out here. I used a lot of the items from the Desert Lux kit because I do think that has the best grill out of any of the grills in the game, and it came in a kit. Say what you want about the kits, but a lot of them are actually really, really nice. Do I wish that they would make more stuff packs instead? Absolutely. Honestly, I miss stuff packs, and I cannot remember the last time we had a stuff pack, but if the kits are what we can get, I'm certainly happy that a lot of them are really increasing in quality, because it just makes it a bit more easy to recommend the kits. I know that I get the kits because I'm in the EA creator network, but I would never recommend a kit if I don't think that it's worth getting. So the reviews that I've done on the kits that I've gotten are reviews that I stand by. So just to clear that up. But yeah, we have the decking area. Of course, we have the natural pond here. So I just started to decorate around it. If you're ever confused at what you should decorate with, just take a look around the surrounding areas of what the Sims team have done with, you know, the neighborhood, because that's a really good indication of what you can actually do with a space, and what flowers you can throw in there so it doesn't look totally out of place. So that's what I did here. And I think it turned out really good. I'm overall really, really happy with this build. I think it's one of the cooler mansions that I've done in a while, so I hope you guys like it as well. But here we have some screenshots. I think it looks phenomenal. I'm really, really happy both with the style and the mixture of the modern with the industrial, the big windows. I did use a lot of different windows in this build as well, mostly the big industrial ones, but I like the way that it looks. I'm overall super happy and satisfied with the look of it. This build is on the gallery right now. I did double check before uploading it, so it is on the gallery right now, so you can go and grab it if you want to. My EA ID is Auvbri, so just like the channel name here, you should be able to find every single thing that I have done, also in the rebuild series. And when that's said, so because I'm doing this rebuild series, it is a specific save file of mine that I do take backups off regularly, because, you know, I have had all these problems with The Sims 4. If you want to have the complete file once I'm done with the worlds, you of course can. I will go in and I will upload it to something like Google Drive, where people can go in and get it if they want to get the save file. That way you actually have the builds exactly where I placed them with the packs and everything. So that's also an option. You don't have to, but that's an option, just to let you know. I love this shot. I love the shots. This shot is why, these shots from the dining room is why I chose to have them in the thumbnail as well, because I just love the way that it turned out. Overall, I'm so happy with the whole of this house. There's not one room, as of me recording this, where I would change something, because I feel like every single space turned out super great. And they all have their own identity, they all have their own kind of color scheme, but it's still cohesive despite it being like very different from room to room. And I really do like that. Also, Olivia's room here, I think it's really nice. Like, I can definitely see her living there. office area, office, library, whatever you want to call it. Again, there's an easel in there. I have play tested everything, and of course I had to do from the new bathroom kit in every one of the bathrooms. They are different in color scheme, but the items are the same because I'm in love with it. And as I've said before, a lot of the kits, and definitely also the hobbies, business and hobbies expansion pack, have just been with a very specific Scandinavian style in mind, and I love that. That is, for me, it's just something where I'm like, I can see myself and my culture, my style in the things that is now being released for The Sims 4, which is amazing because it's very American inspired. And I know a lot of people felt that way as well when they did the I cannot remember, the one with the farming and the cows, that expansion in Henford and Backley. I know a lot of English people definitely were like, this is very much English countryside, somewhat stereotypical, but they do that with everything. It's The Sims. It's a very much exaggeration of, you know, general stuff, but yeah, I like that I'm being represented with my part of the world as well. So yeah, all right, this is the master bathroom, huge bathroom, but I love the way that it turns out with the color scheme and everything. And again, if you want to get this build, it is on the gallery right now. So you can go get it. And Spencer Lewis Kim is actually living on this lot as of recording this. I just kind of built on top of them, so I didn't have to think about money and that stuff. I do know that I've like moved a lot of people from their lots to other lots, but I didn't do that here. I'm almost ready to sign off. Leave the video a like, subscribe, hit that share button, hit the notification bell, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you in the comment section down below, and also next time for another one. Bye everybody.